Okay, my beautiful friends, sit back and relax because here we go again, and it's just too freaking stupid. So it is a Thursday, August 18th, 2022. Let's talk about some of the economic news that they're trying to get us to believe here. What did we literally just find out? Durable goods orders falling off of a cliff, along with retail sales falling off of a cliff. People are not spending money. They continue to borrow just to make ends meet. We're getting warnings from this retailer and then that retailer, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but they want us to believe. Are you ready for this one? Manufacturing and factory activity just miraculously, picked up a lot. How about no? Okay, this is more nonsense. Let me explain this to you in case you don't know. And I'm sure you do if you follow this blog. Okay. Globally, the economy is contracting at its fastest pace ever on record. This has been going on for many, many months now. It's no secret. Meanwhile, they want you to believe everything is fine. People are great. Everyone's rich. You got to be kidding me. But this is what they're doing. It's the propaganda. It's the distractions. It's the look here, don't look here. It's always the same story. So that's the case here. Honestly, you are too smart for this. And it makes me just kind of laugh here. Oh, and jobless claims came in at about 250,000 better than expected. What kind of jobs are these anyway? But look, that's neither here nor there. You and I can see clearly through the nonsense, the dog shit, cat shit, bird shit that they're throwing at us. They're flinging at us. And I don't think anyone's buying this anymore. I really don't think so. But anyway, that's the story with this morning's economic news. It just doesn't stop, neither with the lies and the propaganda and everything else connected to it. So, looking over at this stock market, now I know you're paying attention to that 10-year yield. It did come down a little bit, 2.88. The market doesn't like it here, okay? The market doesn't like it. So, we've seen this market stay relatively flat as of late. Keeping your eye on that 10-year yield, keeping your eye on the MMRI, which is just a shade under orange or, the next level higher. And I want you to pay attention to that. Again, link in the description of this video. Okay, so with that said, stock futures are flat right now. Nothing major going on here. 10-year yield, like I just said, 2.88. Market wants to see it lower, much lower. Crude oil catching a bid. That's good for energy. It's actually good for financials as well. You know why. The investment banks leveraged beyond their eyeballs in crude. Okay, so that's another reason why they're going to keep this propped up. And I hate it when I see it fall. People die. People die when crude oil drops. Again, you know the game. Refinery fire, bombing, terrorist attack, whatever they got to do. Wedge a ship in the canal. I mean, you can't make some of this stuff up even if you tried to do it. But that's really the case here. Gold and silver catching a bid despite a slightly stronger dollar this morning. Again, Bitcoin hovering at just over 23,000. We've been stuck in a tight range for a long time with regard to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. We'll see how that plays out moving forward. All right, so what does this all mean in the grand scheme of things? What are we hearing? What is the news that it's everywhere, okay? Recession fears, steep recession fears, severe recession fears across Europe, across the United States, across the world. But again, they're going to try to convince you that it's not really happening. And it obviously is. Let me put a perspective on this for you. Let's think about this for a moment. What do we know must occur? Okay, the debt must continue to balloon. Even if the economy were to shut down completely, like they did during the whole, COVID thing here, let's shut down the entire economy, and the stock market still went higher, okay? Because they continue to pour money in epic sums, into the debt market, into the market itself, stocks. They're buying it all. So what am I leading up to here? Even in the event of a steep recession, or what did JP Morgan say, something worse than a recession is coming here. And then they're not just talking about the United States. This is a global phenomenon here. As long as they continue to keep rates suppressed, and I'm talking about central banks who are hell-bent on buying it all, market's going to go higher, okay? Everything hinges on the debt market. And you know that if you've been following this blog. They can do anything they want. Shut down the economy, throw a new crisis at us, for which they will, okay? The mechanism demands it, that cash be pulled into the now from the future via this crisis, this other crisis, a combination of crises altogether. They got to keep it going. They can't stop it. This is why I said yesterday, it almost seems a little too quiet for me right now, okay? Something is brewing under here, and I think you can feel it, So be ready for another major crisis. I don't know what it's going to be, but something is going to happen here to give our policymakers, okay, which they're nothing but puppets here, another mechanism or reason to call upon central banks who are more than happy to lend. You understand? This whole thing is... It's a way to create a slave planet, okay, and individual slaves, debt slaves. It's not going to stop. Understanding that the mechanism is very, very simple, people. The debt must expand. It must expand. Or we go back to Mad Max, or a whole new system, which they already have in the works. You all know that. This is all leading up to a climax on an unprecedented, unbelievable scale here, okay? The distortions that exist across the spectrum of asset classes, including the debt market, which is a Frankenstein monster, is not going to stop until it does. And when it does, I think it's going to take most people completely by surprise here. The debt hyperbubble continues to be fueled. It's going to blow up. We witnessed this with our own eyes. We watched that sell-off in that 10-year yield, and what did central banks do the same day? Think about what I'm telling you here. The same day we watched that happen, global bond yields were surging. The day it happened here in the United States with that 10-year yield spiking, what happened? European Central Bank announces their unlimited bond buying program. Fed follows suit. You don't know about that because they didn't tell you, and some people don't believe it's happening because the Fed didn't say it. Oh, they have to say it first. Really? Duh. How about no? They don't have to do anything. So that's what's going on here. So what you can expect is, again, another crisis, something really big, maybe a series of them. In an attempt to pull cash into the now, central banks are going to continue to buy it all because that's their one goal, to inflate. You all know that. And everything they're talking about here, okay, oh yeah, and even this morning with Bloomberg, oh, the Federal Reserve is going to be raising rates aggressively, and that's really going to stop inflation. How's it working out so far? How about nothing? Inflation continues to surge higher. They're telling, this is what they always do. You and I are watching inflation move higher, all right, and they're admitting it's happening. Meanwhile, the Fed's been raising rates for quite a while now. But that was really supposed to stop inflation. Oh, but it's going to be the Inflation Reduction Act. That's going to help too. No, it isn't. And they know it's not. But that lie must be propagated. That lie they have to keep harping on it. And the more they keep saying it, the more real it's going to become to people. You understand? It's always the same. You keep repeating a lie over and over and over again, and that lie becomes real to people. They start believing it. But nothing could be further from the truth. People are being strangled to death by design. It's the boiling frog syndrome. You all know that too. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to bet against the debt. You're going to freaking become your own central bank here. You're going to look for ways to make the system work for you. You understand? Not against you. And if we realize that look, I could be wrong here, okay, but logically, understanding how the system works, okay, and I want to hear from you on this. Do you believe central banks are going to continue to inflate, or do you believe they're going to just stop and allow the whole system to implode? I don't think so. At one point, absolutely, and that's going to be the climax, that the moment in time that people are going to talk about for thousands of years as the entire system implodes on itself by design here. A method of control, more control on a population which is going to shrink dramatically. I think that's pretty much common knowledge here to those of you that understand what's going on here. The system is so poisonous right now. Do yourself a little favor here. If you're new to some of my work here, just open up a search engine when you're done with this and look up Global Debt and the Human Bubble. It's an article I wrote years and years and years ago. It explains the situation here, how this environment has been created artificially by surging and inflating debt here. And at one particular point, when the debt bubble implodes, and it will, it's going to cause a massive, massive loss of human life across the entire world. So check that out. Global Debt and the Human Bubble. Just let your fingers do the walking. You'll find the article. It's out there somewhere. All right, people, look, I think that's it. We covered a lot of things here. I want to hear from you. I really, really do. If you do find that article that I wrote, Global Debt and the Human Bubble, read it. Comment here what you think about what I put together there. That article has raised a lot of eyebrows. That article has got a lot of criticism as well. But I don't care. I want to hear what you think about it, okay? Global Debt and the Human Bubble by Gregory Mannarino. I will see all of you at the end of the day. And, well, that's all.